1, 2, 3, 4.
And welcome back to It's Not a Sport, Season 3, Episode 20. So, we made 20 episodes in Season 3. Hooray. It's been a very good season so far. I've been enjoying myself, and I hope you guys are enjoying the talks as well. Make sure to leave a like and a comment. It really helps out. And if you want to listen to our show and see what I'm talking about visually up on the screen, you can go check out our YouTube channel. Or if you just want to listen to it as a podcast on Spotify or SoundCloud or iTunes as well. So, with that being said, we have the usual news, some cool gaming news, some Nintendo Direct news, and some more business industry strides news. So it's a mix of everything this week, along with some really good esports stuff, since at least in League we're getting into Worlds, and in Overwatch we're getting into playoffs. So look forward to that. This week's main talk, however, which we are getting into right now, is about the $70 price increase. And will we see it happen? And what is it? Should we expect it? And what is this about really? So what is the $70 price increase? Is essentially we may see a price increase with video games. Right now, the retail price, standard industry retail price for a video game is $59.99, which translates to $60. If you're adding tax as well. So essentially $60 a game. And we saw this increase in the era of the next gen consoles of PS3 and PS and Xbox 360. When that generation of consoles came out, we saw an increase from $50, how games, that's what they were priced, to $60. And since then, through the PS3, Xbox 360 era, and the PS4, Xbox One era, it has remained $60. So essentially all my life, from the early 2000s to 2020. So for 20 years, it's remained $60. And that would be fine if the price of game development as a whole didn't go up. And as the years went on, and as technology got better, et cetera, as we've been preaching on this show for at least the last couple of weeks, the price of games has gone up. They're getting more and more and more expensive to make. Where Red Dead Redemption 2 currently is one of the most expensive games ever made. And not just with that, we see it with like size of how games are getting bigger and bigger over the years, So like games used to be 2 gigabytes, 10 gigabytes. Now they're getting up to like Warzone's almost at 300, I think. 50, 80, 160, gigabytes, which is a lot of space that they're using up because games are getting more better. Animation's gotten better, more expensive. Cutscenes are more expensive and gotten better. Textures, mostly now a lot of things in the industry are outsourced. So that means they're not done in-house, but they're outsourced to different companies around the world. So a lot of things have gone up. And as we've seen, because this price of games has gone up to make, and the purchasing price themselves has stayed relatively the same, we see that we saw more shady business practices come into the works. So we saw microtransactions happening. We saw loot boxes now. We saw games as a service become more of a thing they're trying to do. Because again, with the last 3 shows, I've been talking about this curve, okay? When games release, that's generally when they make all their money, when they first release. And then it goes down, 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 down. What they want it to do is when it releases, it just wants to go down maybe a little bit and then even out, and just stay that to have a consistent revenue with that game. That's why Destiny is so big. That's why WoW and those MMOs have survived so much. Games as a service, Fortnite is now becoming more irrelevant because they want that steady flow of income. So essentially what the $70 price increase boils down to is because games are more expensive to make, we may see an increase with games becoming $70. Now, why this is a big deal is because, one, I think games are already expensive. Okay, so if you like the deluxe edition and all that makes it super expensive. If you live in a state like I do, like Illinois, where our taxes are super high, Illinois, California, New York, where taxes are super high, we're essentially already paying $70 a game because it's like $6 a tax. So we're paying $66 for a video game when we buy it straight off the market. So already they're already as a whole too expensive for, I think, just the average consumer. But then that's because they're just more expensive to produce. So that's why the average consumer is very, very skeptical, especially if you're like me, where $60 for a game is what you've been grown up and know. To spend $70 for a game, especially where now we see a lot of games having debatable content, where some games aren't fully released, they come out buggy, etc., etc. It's very debatable and very sketchy to increase this price increase, because if they increase it, which a couple companies have, the 2K, the publisher for them, I believe for certain titles that they will have a $70 price increase. For example, NBA 2K will be now $70 when the next NBA 2K 2022, when that comes out, that will most likely maybe be $70. So certain games like that we'll see increased. And really comes down to is if they increase that, we'll see companies smallly like increase it like that, and like maybe Activision Blizzard will, but will other companies do that? Because if they do that, will I as a consumer buy that game? I don't know. We don't know. So it's very, very skeptical to see these price increases happening. But will they happen? I definitely think they will happen. They definitely will happen. We'll probably see some sort of increase, some sort of, more new different monetization models as we go on in the future. This article that I have now, it's pretty much sums it up. It's by checkpointxp.com. Video games will cost $70, hopefully. It's a decent article, and it's really just about that and sums it up in a nutshell, and how the industry is moving forward and how this $70 increase will change it. Do I think the increase is a bad thing? No, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's something, a product is either going to happen as they're in the industries in this weird way of figuring things out, because obviously companies don't want to lose their 30%. They need more money in order to pay people in order to make these games. So like the price increase could do a lot of good, but it can also do a lot of bad. And we see like them not really wanting to do this and experimenting more with, Xbox Game Pass that we talked about a couple weeks ago, and how if they want to push more subscription model rather than a $70 price increase, or free-to-play games like Fortnite and League of Legends that kind of have a games as a service kind of update models. Because if we do this kind of route of a $70 price increase, that would mean basically every console generation it would go up, and eventually you're just being like, as it says here, you'd be looking at $100 for a AAA title, which is ridiculous, because we're already spending almost $60, and now you spend $100 for a AAA title on top of $100 or $300, $400 for a console. Like, still, the console wars is also a big, factor of these price increases and how we're going to see it happen, where you can pre-order PlayStations now, but you don't know what the price will be for the PlayStation. Same with the Xbox, and Sony wants it to be high. They want it to be high with the PS3, and that, obviously butchered them in the console war when the PS3 was released, because they need the money, and they're really just selling it out of deficit. They're losing money compared to how much they should be making, or how much the cost is to make these games, to make these consoles, to make this new technology. So it's a very difficult solution to see. I don't know what type of solution we'll see. I think that, we'll probably see some games like 2K, games with really core fan bases, see those $70 price increases. If that happens, I'm hopefully we get more bang for our buck, because currently I think we're getting less bang for our buck in a lot of cases. I think this Avengers game that comes out very soon will probably be a prime example of that. Just on base what they're showing in some talks that we're going to do in the news section coming up next. But I think the main cool best solution may be to do what the movie industry does, and the music industry did, where instead of spending $15 for a CD, we go towards a subscription model. I think Xbox is, currently the pioneer of this, going towards a subscription model, and we've seen good things about it. We talked about the value. We talked about how much you get from it. You talked about how much developers get from it, and like the 30% and all that money. Because right now it's a combination of greed, and is the consumer willing to give in to that greed, I think. And with the subscription models, I think it will eventually we'll get to this state again where it's more greed, but it will be a better long-term solution than seeing a $10 price increase each console generation. Okay, and I hope you guys enjoyed this week's talk about the $70 price increase. Overall, I think it's a good thing. It'll probably slow down scummy practices and just be a band-aid on a fix of a problem right now as we move maybe towards more of a subscription service. Anyway, let's get into some of the news this week, because we got some good ones. Starting with Sony's financial report. They had a financial report recently, talked about what their plans kind of are, what they want to do. First, that they want to bring more of their first party title games to PC. The most recent one being Horizon Zero Dawn. So that's a good thing, because I think Xbox has been doing this. It's nice, and if Sony can do this as well, it'll be real nice. Because of course these games are meant to sell consoles, but I think they both need a piece of that PC market. And I honestly just think PC is better than consoles in general. But again, that's another consumer financial issue. We've talked about it before. So just seeing more first party games would be real nice, real cool. It also goes on to that they want to get more first party studios, and they want to do more VR games for PlayStation and Sony. Really just trying to compete with Microsoft, it feels like, because Microsoft has just been buying a lot of studios up recently over the years, and just spending that money. So it just seems like Sony just wants to, not be on par, but want to still be in the games. So that's some good news from Sony. Just some cool stuff to look forward to. So Apple terminates Fortnite Creator App Store account as the lawsuit proceeds. So Apple's continue to tack on Fortnite, and the war wages on. No real big development here. They've just been, Epic declared war. Apple's been doing some petty real stuff to them recently. So that's really all that gist of that. So now into some cool little gaming news. So we have Guild Wars 2 coming to Steam next year, November of this year, pardon me. So real soon it will be coming to Steam. If you don't know what Guild Wars 2 is, it's a MMORPG, one of the more casual ones. So a lot of casual, really casual, kind of my entry to the MMORPG franchise. If you don't want to play WoW, or you don't want to play Final Fantasy, I think Guild Wars 2 is the entry to most of this. It's developed by ArenaNet, published by NCSoft, and it's coming to Steam. Really, I think this is just because the game's been dying recently, like a lot, just because, one, it is super casual, so you don't have really hardcore raids, or really there's raids that you can do, but the community and just how they manage the game has been really kind of bad. So you don't have really hardcore content or goals to look forward to in the game. Because once you reach those goals, there's no armor progression. So armor just doesn't get better each patch, like in Final Fantasy or WoW. So it's not a gear progression MMO. That's why I say it's super casual, and the casual part of it kind of hurts the replayability of it in the long run. So I think this is why they're trying to push it onto Steam, which is a big platform, and to get more eyeballs on it. The base game itself, which is a lot of content, is free, and then once you want to go past that, you got to pay for the 2 expansions. Which, speaking of expansions, they also announced the 3rd expansion, or teased it, for the game, which I have no clue when it will be coming out, but they also teased this, which is good because the first expansion was really good because it said it was a foundation expansion where they redid a lot of things, and the second expansion was just good additional content as well. And then they just decided not to do any expansions. They had a huge bunch of layoffs, and things have just been going downhill for the last couple years. But now that they decide to do back to another expansion, which is definitely needed for the game, it's good to see it. So it's called End of the Dragons. So I'm definitely looking forward to this. This game has one of the best mount systems out there. So definitely check that one out. If you're looking to get into the MMORPG genre and you want something super casual. So we also had a Nintendo Mini Direct as well. The Mini Direct, nothing super cool out of the ordinary. Mostly just some cool little rhythm games. So they have Kingdom Hearts Melody of where I missed what it's called, but essentially playing it real fast on the screen. It's a new Kingdom Hearts rhythm game. So it's a rhythm game. Rhythm games are based off music. Like Os is kind of probably the king of rhythm games. But it's really cool just to see a Kingdom Hearts rhythm game, especially as Kingdom Hearts has some really, really, really fantastic music over the last couple games, as well as the spin-off games as well. So definitely check it out. It seems to be free for all, up to 8 people locally. A cool little thing. So check out that game when it hits the Switch. Then we have Fuse they talked about as well, another kind of rhythm game. So more indie type of games that you can play. Boxing games, etc., etc. It's just a mini direct, so they just do some cool, like, tiny games that you can look forward to. Nothing huge, nothing like Zelda 2, which we still got, or Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, which we still have need news on. The new Metroid game, which we have to still get news on. And what's up with, I believe, the remakes for the Zelda Ocarina of Time, which is a rumor. Zelda Majora Mask, which is also a rumor. And the Mario 64 games that they're supposed to do for Mario's anniversary as well. No news on that. We didn't get news on that in June either, because they didn't do a big Nintendo Direct for like E3 that they're supposed to do this year, or like they normally do. So we're kind of waiting it out to see what Nintendo has. Probably it's just because they don't want to announce anything and COVID to really affect stuff. So that's probably the gist of it. Moving forward, Activision cracks down on a cheater website for Call of Duty. It's cool, but I feel like Call of Duty is just one of those games where, like, it has so many cheaters, has so many, like, a really hardcore racist player base for some reason, or not some reason. But they're cracking down. I think they're just trying, especially the publisher as well, trying to make Call of Duty a better community place, I want to say, but I'm not too sure, to be completely honest, especially with how Call of Duty Cold War, they released a gameplay trailer for that recently as well, had Team and Square footage. They censored that for China, as they had to, I guess, to even have a place in a market there, as well as just like the memes that we got for Ronald Reagan just being a terrible president. Anyway, let's get into a little bit more juicy news before we get into esports. And this is just a continuation of last week's show. So if you haven't listened to last week's show, which talks about Marvel's Avengers game and the monetization of it, red flags to look out for, definitely go check that out, because now, before the game releases, a couple days before the game releases, they came out, did an article on basically monetization, gear and cosmetics, and people's concerns, which I've honestly never seen people do, a company do this before. So let's get over it, or go over it. They talk about outfits. Outfits are aesthetic only. They do not influence gameplay. This was intentional, decide to avoid pay-to-win scenarios. Okay, so we already knew this. That's cool. People weren't mad about this. They were mad about how gear itself doesn't show up on your character. Gear itself was an outfit. They could do some very, just what everyone does in MMOs, games as a service model, where you have your gear, and your gear can change the look of your character, but then you also have your skins you can buy from the cash shop and do transmog stuff. We see this in WoW, we see this in Final Fantasy, we see this in Guild Wars, we see it in pretty much every MMO. We see it in BDO, even though BDO is mostly, wants you to do the cash shop to look at the good outfits, but we see this in most games, so I don't know why they didn't do for that, because that was people's main concern. Emotes, character-specific emotes bring out the personality of each superhero and let you express yourself to emotes or AI. Otherwise, okay, emotes, whatever. Takedowns are flashy finishers, show off each hero's signature style on the battlefield. Okay, takedowns, whatever. Nameplates show off your hero's stats and are drawn from our iconic art in the Marvel history. Okay, whatever. So these are the things I guess you're paying for in the cash shop: outfits, emotes, takedowns, and nameplates. Cool cosmetic stuff, that's fine. How do vendors work? Resources come in common of fragments, rare prisms, and exotic varieties, and traded with vendors or used to upgrade gear. Resources can be found in resource crates dropped by enemies, gained through dismantling artifacts, received in fraction assignment rewards, and via hero challenge cards. More on this in a bit. So you have your resources. That's cool. Vendors in general, just because I kind of skipped it. Vendors are narrative-based story operators who can be found in multiple locations in our game. They sell cosmetics, gear, rare resources in exchange for units and common resources. So basically, Destiny vendors think exactly the same. So you can get better resources from them, I guess. So the exchange patterns are earned through high-level crates, activities, fraction missions, and increases your faction level. They can be used as fabrication machines to create outfits and nameplates. So patterns make more cosmetic shit, I guess. Units are soft currency in game. Units are their currency in the game, not the premium currency, the currency in the game. So basically think exactly like Destiny. So let's get into, and then they have a marketplace as well, which is actually interesting. In addition to all the content you earn or buy with units from vendors, Marvel's Avengers also features a marketplace. The marketplace exists outside of the game's narrative and is accessible via the main or cosmetic menu. It is a place up to feature purchasables, cosmetics in the form of outfits, emotes, takedowns, nameplates, marketplace, uncommon, rare, epic, and legendary items, routine, weekly. Okay, that's weird. So this is the cash shop. When they said marketplace, I thought the game was going to have an economy, which would be actually really cool. But it's just the cash shop. So, and they call it the marketplace. So that's weird to me. I wish they didn't name it that, but that's whatever. Okay, so again, now this is where I made some we're gonna go credits real fast, and then the main concern that I talked about last week on last week's show as well. So they talk about credits. Credits is our hard currency, which is their premium currency. So their V-Bucks, their Riot Points, etc., etc. The currency you pay real money for. A 500 credit pack will cost $5. Credit packs come in 500, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 with a bonus credit for bigger packs. Pretty standard here. And then we get into what are heroic challenge cards, which are their battle passes. And the dude speculated about this. He was right. We talked about it, and they say it here. Heroic. They say it here, where is my pad, pardon me. Each heroic challenge card has 40 tiers of free and premium rewards. Rewards are earned via challenge points by completing daily and weekly challenges. Heroic challenge cards rewards include, and then there's a list of rewards that I'm not going to read because I just want to move on real fast. But the point of this is that we saw that they had this in the beta, that they had a free row, and of course now they're going to have a pay cash shop premium row as well, which is concerning because also you can't grind out these battle passes like you can in pretty much every other game. There is a cap to how much XP you can earn a week and a day, and then you have to pay with the premium currency to increase it more or refresh that cap. So just goes to say, again, I'm not going to reiterate it here because we talked about it a lot on last week's episode, but these are some real concerning red flags in this game that you need to look out for, because this game was already, you had loads of problems in the beta and red flags that we could see from its announcement, and it comes out really soon in a couple days. So definitely and just read this article, go through it, because it just kind of establishes my points and the red flags that this article as a whole, that they had to come out with it and explain things, is another red flag of like, please buy our game. You know, everything's based on our monetization. It's not that bad. It's just like Destiny, please buy it. Anyway, let's get into some of the fun stuff, some of the new stuff. We're gonna skip this because it starts Thursday. The Overwatch League playoffs starts Thursday, so look forward to that. I'm gonna actually watch some of these games when I can, but right now, because it's real esports playoff season, everyone's getting ready for the final match. You know, there's a lot of games to watch. And with that being said, we can move on to League of Legends now, LPL. So let's go over the brackets real quick. In round one, in winners, we had V5 versus Fun Plus Phoenix. V5 moved forward. We had in losers, we had LG versus Team WE. LG moved forward. In quarterfinals, we had Sunning versus V5. Sunning moved forward. In losers, we had IG versus LGD Gaming. LG moved forward. In semifinals, we had Top Esports versus Sunny. Top moved forward. In losers, we had JD versus LGD. JD moved forward. And in the finals, we had Top Esports versus JD Gaming, where Top Esports won. I highly recommend you go watch the LPL Summer 2020 finals. They have some insane games. Watching these players is so much fun and so exciting to see these guys play compared to when we watch North America or EU. How I described it, the best way I described it, right, is watching China and watching these guys play League of Legends. It's reactive versus reactive. You know, both teams are willing to pull the trigger for a play right off the gate. It's a lot of fun to watch. They have level 1 team fights, which are insane. So definitely, I can't hype this game up enough, because you've got to go watch these games. They're really good. All right, in third place that they played as well, we had Sunny versus LGD Gaming. Sunny won. So now, what's up with China? Well, they are going through the regional finals right now, which I believe actually may be done. Which is Sunning in round 1 qualifier match. They had Sunning versus LG. Sunning won, and they moved for or Sunning won, so they get to move forward. They don't have to play in round 2. LGD Gaming had to get to play in round 4. Then we had IG versus Fun Plus Phoenix. The last 2 years world champions. IG won 2018, Fun Plus won 2019. They go off, and IG won, so they moved forward because they were in losers, and they moved forward to versus LGD Gaming, which LGD Gaming won as well. So that's what happened in the regional finals. So what does that mean? Well, it means that both of our previous year's world champions will not be going to Worlds this year, which we'll be talking about Worlds in the end. So in LCK, right, we have in round 1 in the LCK playoffs, we have T1 versus Afrika Freaks. Afrika Freaks won. We had Genji versus Afrika Freaks. Genji won. And then Dragon X versus Genji. Dragon X won, which the final should be played this week, which should be Damwon Gaming versus Dragon X. So we have that to look forward to. And then they also moved on to the regional fire-offs, where we have in round 1, we have KT, or Afrika Freaks versus KT. And then round 2, we have T1 versus to be decided. And the finals is to be decided in the regional. So LCK, for some reason, is really far behind everyone else in terms of playing. So now let's move on to LEC, which the best way to describe LEC is proactive versus reactive, where LCK and LPL are more reactive versus reactive. LEC, which is Europe, is more the mix of proactive versus reactive. That's how I think is the best way to describe it. So in round 1, we had Rogue versus Fnatic. Fnatic moved forward to semifinals, and we had G2 versus Mad. G2 moved forward to semifinals. And then in the losers bracket, we had SK versus Sklako 4. Sklako 4 moved forward. Mad, which got sent to losers, versus Sklako 4. Mad moved forward. Rogue, who got sent to losers, versus Mad. Rogue moved forward. And in semifinals, so this week we had Fnatic versus G2, which again were fantastic fucking games. Like, really check those games out as well, because those were clash of titan games. The games themselves were just really fun to watch. It was some good, balanced League of Legends, where it's not as fun or as cool as to watch as, China is or LCK is, but it was just like the right balance of League of Legends to watch. So definitely check out those LCK games, because they got incredible viewership and they're really, really cool to watch. But anyway, who won that match? Spoilers alert, Fnatic won. So Fnatic moved forward to finals. G2 got sent to losers. G2 goes against Rogue. Whoever wins that goes against Fnatic in finals as well. So that's what's up with LEC, which is Europe. In LCS, which is North America, gonna go over real fast. In round 1, we had Fly versus EG. Fly won. Fly moved forward. Then we had TSM versus Golden Guardians. Golden Guardians won. They moved forward. In losers, we had Dig versus TSM, because TSM got sent to losers. TSM moved forward. And we had 100 Trash versus EG. 100 Trash lost. EG moved forward into round 2 of losers. In round 2, we had TL versus Golden Guardians. TL won. They moved forward to round 4. And then we had Cloud9 versus FlyQuest. FlyQuest won. They moved forward to round 4. Then in losers, we had TSM versus Golden Guardians. TSM moved forward to round 3 in losers. And Evil Geniuses versus Cloud9. Cloud9 moved forward to round 3 in losers. In round 3 of losers, we had TSM versus Cloud9, where TSM, and this was the match which would decide who would be our 3rd place seed for Worlds. Spoiler alert, you don't have to watch this game, honestly. I wouldn't recommend anyone to watch any NA games, honestly. But spoiler alert, TSM won. They move forward around. TSM goes to Worlds. Cloud9 doesn't. Really kind of sucks. Whatever. Or it's a fantastic if you're a TSM fan. TSM moves forward in losers bracket to round 4. Cloud9 gets knocked out. They're done. In round 4, we had TL versus FlyQuest. FlyQuest won. They moved to finals, and then TL gets into losers. So next week, we should have TL versus TSM in losers. Whoever wins that gets to go to finals versus FlyQuest, and whoever wins that is the summer champion. All right. So with that being said, let's get into Worlds. We'll talk about it a little bit now that some of our teams are established, and we're looking forward to it. So the starting date is the 9th, 25th, so end of September. It lasts for about a month. We can see we have our play-in stages like normal. Best of ones, 12 teams participate, double round robin. Then we have our knockout stages. We have our main event, which is group stages, 16 teams, best of 1, double round robin. And then our eliminations, which are best of 5. And this will be played on patch 10.19 with Yon disabled for some fucking reason. So, what are the current seeds? In groups, we have Team Top Esports, which is China's #1 seed. They made it for being the LPL 2020 Summer Champions. We have JD Gaming, which is China's 2nd seed. They made it for off of LPL championship points, and Sunning made it off of the regional finals. They ran the gauntlet and they won it. So those are our 3 China contenders for groups. In Europe, we still have to be decided based off of who wins the championship. But we have Fnatic, who's going based off of 2020 Summer runner-up, basically because they're the 1st seed or the 2nd seed, but they'll probably be the 1st seed depending on who wins. And then we have G2 and Rogue because they're guaranteed to get 3rd place. So we have that. In Korea, we have Dragon X off of championship points, and we have to be decided whoever will win the Korean Summer 20 will probably be Damwon Gaming, I'm suspecting, based on how they're doing, but that's what's up. In North America, we have FlyQuest because they're the runner-ups, and then we have whoever will be the 1st place seed, which will either be FlyQuest, TSM, or Team Liquid, who are also qualified into Worlds. They're qualified in play-ins, not groups. In groups, however, currently we have LGD Gaming, which is China's 4th seed, and they get that by being the regional finals runner-ups by running the gauntlet. We have Mad Lion, because of 2020 Summer 4th place, because Europe gets 4 teams, so Mad Lions and plans. And then Korea is to be decided based on who wins the gauntlet. And then we have Team Liquid, TSM, because they're currently both tied for 3rd place. So they both get plans, so they're competing for a group and groups currently. And then we have some of the other smaller regions, PSG for being the PSC 2020 runner-ups, Team Flash for being the VSC 2020 runner-ups, to be decided for Brazil. For CIS, we have Unicorns of Love for being the champion. Japan is to be decided still. For Latin America, we have Rainbow 7 for being the champions. For Oceania, we have Legacy Esports for being the champion. And Turkey is to be decided as well. But that's groups. Real quick, I'm sorry, I apologize. I missed it last week. The show's also running long, but that's because it's esports news. We're getting esports season, so much news. So expect these shows to get longer than usual. Games, they come out. Nothing big, nothing major. Tony Hawk of Pro Skater 1 and 2 remake are coming out. NBA 2K21 is coming out. Marvel's Avengers, of course, comes out September 4th, so in a couple days, literally this week. We have also Kingdom of Amalur Re-Reckoning, so the remake of that comes out September 8th as well. So now that we're getting into September, we're starting to see a little bit more better games coming out until we get into holiday season. With that being said, that's our show for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe. Really always helps out. If you want to listen to our shows, you can listen to it on Spotify, iTunes, and SoundCloud. They go up each week on Mondays. If you want to watch our shows, check out our YouTube channel. That's also where all of our previous seasons are archived as well. Make sure to follow us on social media. It's Not a Sport to You. All the descriptions and links can be found in the description below. Anyway, thank you for listening to this week's show. This is your host, Salty Waffles, signing off, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful climb.